Today, let's have some fun and have a look at time and space. Very interesting. So let's say we've got a zero dimension, a point. In order for that point to move, it has to move through a higher dimension, the one dimension. So the point moves through the one dimension, drawing a line. And then that line, in order for it to move, it has to move through a higher dimension. The second dimension showing a plane as it moved down and up. Now, in order for that plane in the second dimension to be able to move, it has to move through a higher dimension, the third dimension, hence becoming a cube. And in order for that cube to be able to move, it has to move through a higher dimension, which is the fourth dimensional space. So the cube moves through the four-dimensional space, which I thought was time. Well, it is time, because 1 second of time is equal to 186,000 miles of fourth dimensional space, proving space-time, proving that the fourth dimensional space is equivalent to time, in the sense that 1 second of time equals 186,000 miles. So if 1 second in the third dimension is equal to so much space in the fourth dimension, what is 1 second in the fourth dimension? It must be equivalent to so many miles in the fifth dimension, because in order for a fourth dimensional object to move, it must move through a higher dimension, e.g. the fifth dimensional space. So if time is equal to space, then 1 second in the fourth dimension is how many miles of fifth dimensional space. I'll leave that as an exercise for the reader. Fascinating stuff. And so the fifth dimension is equivalent to time from a fourth dimensional perspective, and then 1 second of time for the fifth dimensional object would be equal to so many miles of sixth dimensional space, and so on up through the dimensions. So this is pretty fascinating, very interesting. You know, all we've got to do now is show how objects disappear that into fourth dimensional space. So it just shows you that the TARDIS in Doctor Who, where you walk into a third dimensional space, but you're actually in a fourth dimensional space, which is a lot bigger, because of the right angles. So very interesting, because obviously the fourth dimensional space is bigger than the third dimensional space, just like the 0 point is smaller than the line, and the line is smaller than the plane, and the plane is smaller than the cube. Fascinating.